G'day everybody. With the new drop of the Godzilla x Kong, the new Empire trailer from a couple of days ago, you already know that we had to briefly cover it. As always, potential spoiler warnings, as I may be absolutely perfect with my predictions. I mean, let's get first thing first out of the way. Some people like it, other people don't. Personally, I love it. For serious tones, we have Shin Godzilla, Monarch, and now Godzilla -1, and they are all spectacular. But I also enjoy some good old-fashioned kaiju action. This looks like it will be an entertaining movie, and you should already know that I'm here for just that. As long as they just make the human characters tolerable, I'll consider this a massive win. I'd say that the Monsterverse is shaping up fairly solid, and kaiju fans are feasting at the moment. Anyways, let's cover through the most important parts of this trailer, and then I'll give my thoughts for the Monsterverse's future. The first big thing we see from this trailer is Kong's hand breaching the surface of the dunes from the Hollow Earth. How do we know it's Kong's hand? Well, he has the same scarring from Kong Skull Island, and we also see him wearing the same contraption later on in the trailer. He erupts by an Egyptian period. The big observation everyone noticed around Kong is the massive metal contraption that is around his fingers and hand as a whole. I've seen a few different speculations. Some say it's a cast for an injury, others a gauntlet for fighting, and others just say it's the Infinity Gauntlet. I think it's pretty well suited to say that this is a cast for an injury he sustained in the Hollow Earth, but if that's the case, the next big question is how did he obtain such an injury? We'll get onto the discussion around that later. We also see Kong getting chased by an army of canine-like creatures. I'm taking a guess and assuming that this isn't just some random chase scene, and it may actually be an army from the main antagonist of the film, this being Scar King. But I have a few more theories surrounding him. We then see Kong meeting at first what seems to be Scar King, but turns out to be a juvenile Kong, though seems more orangutan-like than gorilla, possibly Scar King's son? Kong then jumps down into a pit where we see lots of crystals and then also lots of Kong skulls. Personally, I think the dungeon is either where the antagonist Shimu remains, or it may be the remnants of the Godzilla-Kong War. Then we bear witness to Godzilla's newly evolved form, where he has obtained a pink color compared to the normal blue. I've even heard that this may just be the Monsterverse's version of the Spiral Ray, and if that's the case, then Shimu must be strong. We also notice in this shot that he hasn't missed arm day, dwarfing that of his previous forms. I've got to say, despite many people saying they'd much rather see a red design, I'm chilling with his pink form. I think it looks pretty good. We then get to see a better look of what Scar King actually looks like. And I must say, he looks a tad bit decrepit, but I feel like there's a reason for that we'll get onto when I talk about him as a whole. It seems to be clear that he's the ruler of these group of Kongs or ape-like creatures, and I mean, looking at their facial reactions of him, they are no doubt shook. He means business. We also notice that across their chest, there seems to be some sort of painting or scarring. And I've also heard people say that this is a flashback, but there's a clear reason why I doubt it is. If you look at the middle of the shot, who do we see? That's right, it's our very own Kong. So it seems that some Kongs did survive the wars in the Hollow Earth against the Godzillas, as well as the war on the surface with the Skullcrawlers. Maybe they just hid underground after the Godzilla war and didn't follow the other group that went to the surface, but I'm sure we'll figure all that out soon. We also see that Mini Kong is in the same shot, likely being that Kong was brought to this place by the child. We then see Scar King on the surface roaring, where I think he might just be chasing Kong. And then the final scene of this trailer is shown, where Godzilla and Kong burst through the ground into the Hollow Earth, where they are either charging into or running from something. But we see Kong has the same mechanism around his hand from the first scene of the trailer. I'll be honest, I've been seeing a lot of talk saying that Godzilla running like he is in this scene doesn't look natural. He should be slower, and the running as a whole just looks a bit weird. But look at everything. Godzilla has had those hind knees for a while now. But even without bringing up the Monsterverse, do I need to talk about his past incarnations doing everything but moving naturally? From tail dropkick to flying with his atomic breath to even dancing in space. Plus, I don't think it looks too bad. When the entire world is under threat, Godzilla has places to go and titans to see. But alright, let's get into some of the theories I've been brewing behind this trailer. So we know from the leaks that the two antagonists of this film will be Scar King as well as Shimu, although we haven't seen Shimu just yet. Now, for those of you asking who is Shimu, well, let's answer that. Shimu is an ancient titan, one of the first I believe, Its power is so great that it single-handedly caused the Ice Age, and it may be just one of the few creatures that could put Godzilla down for good. I think it would certainly be interesting if we're able to take a look at the Titan's history through the native people in Hollow Earth. As far as Kong's potential injury is concerned, it is likely between one of two choices. I think that it might happen soon after this scene with Scar King. My only issue with this theory is that in the trailer, Scar King looks quite emaciated compared to Kong, but again, apparently he may be 400 feet tall, so it's hard to say if he's the one to cause Kong's injury. Maybe it's Shimu, but it's all up to possibility. However, I also want to sprinkle in that this may not be an injury. Instead, I've heard rumors that it may help to control Kong's lightning powers that he may gain while in the Hollow Earth. My only problem with this is that how does a mechanic arm help? Why is it not on his entire body? And will it be on the entire movie? I hope not. Not too sure, but I guess we'll have to wait and see for next year. Now to Scar King as a whole. I'll say he seems to be the mastermind behind whatever is going on, almost like he's playing chess. I've also heard, and it would make sense, that he was part of the Godzilla-Kong War, and now he wants his revenge after going into hiding after so many years. This would make sense as to why he's so decrepit, as he'd be so old and may have even been injured. We can even observe that he has a fair bit of balding going on at the top of his head, plus some patchy fur and a very skinny build, just gives off that old but battle-scarred vibe. His blue eyes also likely means that he may just have some sort of powers due to the Hollow Earth, possibly the powers of the 1962 Kong, potentially the same lightning powers that Kong will get. That'll surely be interesting. We can also observe some sort of spine wrapped around his body. This could be the infamous whip that everyone's been talking about, the whip that can be used to control Shimu. I think the two ways that it goes down with Shimu is that it will be a 2v2 battle where Kong takes on Scar King and Godzilla Shimu, or there's also rumors that Shimu will end up taking out Scar King after being abused for so long, and then Kong and Godzilla will have to team up to take out Shimu. Which I wouldn't mind, but we've already had the Godzilla team up in Godzilla vs Kong, so at the very least, I'd want a decently drawn out fight between Kong and Scar King as well as Godzilla and Shimu individually, and then we can go into a bit of a team up. Now we can get onto how I think the Monsterverse is shaping up, and I think it's looking pretty good. By the end of the movie, I see that it will be well established that Kong rules the Hollow Earth while Godzilla rules the surface. This gives access to a multitude of storylines. With Kong, I believe we'll get to see a close relationship between him and Mini Kong, where their story can branch out from there, being the son of Kong. It may involve the human characters visiting Hollow Earth to take us through whatever threats Kong has to deal with, where many original titans can be invented to breed a whole new set of kaiju for the future. And who knows, we may even get a Mechanicong. Wouldn't also mind a Gorosaurus as well. Either way, as Scar King has king in his name, I already have the suspicion that Kong will ascend to Scar's throne and we will finally have King Kong. As for Godzilla, he will likely remain on the surface, and if all the rights to his character is all good and dandy, then the opportunities are actually endless. This is because many of Godzilla's major enemies are made outside of nature. For example, Space Godzilla, Biollante, Gigan, Auga, and of course, I think the final climax to the Monsterverse, or at least Godzilla's story, should be with Destroyer. I mean, he's easily my favourite villain out of the bunch. I'm also interested if he'll keep this new atomic breath or if it'll be a one-time thing like his burning form. To be honest, I think it'd be better if Godzilla has access to both beams, with the pink spiral ray being stronger but taking out more energy to use. That's if, again, the rights to the characters are secure. Anyways, we've reached the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed, and of course if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps a bunch. I'll catch you all next time. See ya.